Yeah. You already had the X-ray pictures up and everything, but you went that extra mile, which I didn't think was necessary. But hey, because somebody like that, they're not going to care what you put up there.
I know.
Just don't feed the trolls. Don't feed the trolls. EM, good to see you again, man. Hopefully you guys can hear Travis now. Yeah, he's not in charge of Space Engineers. He's in charge of HostedSpaceEngineers.com and, well, Hosted Engineering. I'm sorry, do I have that right?
Is it
It's
engineering? I thought it
hosted.
was engineers.
It's hostedengineers.com now.
Hosted Engineers.
Medieval Engineers. But
Okay.
I own hostingengineers.com, hosted engineers, hostedspaceengineers.com, and hostedmedievalengineers.com.
Okay. Okay.
They all go to the same place.
Okay. Now, what is the deal with Medieval Engineers servers right now? Because I wanted to get that go.
I'll pay.
What?
Yes.
What about?
I'll pay for one.
No, actually, I popped it. I cracked a nut, and actually, I need to get another Pepsi. But I wanted to rush back to. Yeah, that one did, but it was an almond.
So, Medieval Engineers, I had planned on getting a lot more done before I went on vacation, but obviously,
Yeah.
my wife.
You
stuff
needed that.
happening And being in the
Yeah.
hospital for a week and all that kind of put a hold on that. So I did the best I could to get something out there. Because before I went on vacation, what I did is I created a new development track for my control panel. I put it out there open source.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing is I froze my current control panel that I have in my production system that I'm using for Space Engineers,
Mhm.
and I'm focusing all my development into this open source control panel. So I was converting it to also be able to use Medieval Engineers. So I got what I could working before I took off on vacation. Obviously, it wasn't tested for shit, and so yeah, I left it that. That's why I gave out the server instances for free, so I could get some feedback on what was broken.
Mhm.
And then I came back to all this mess and damage control I had to do, and I'm still cleaning that mess up, getting my business refactored, and then I'm going to go back to developing the control panel
Sure.
again, so it
Okay.
supports both games simultaneously.
Okay. Welcome to the Tall Kid. How are you? We're talking with Travis from HostedSpaceEngineers.com. A little bit about his new server plans. Yeah. Okay. But right now, okay. What? You're taking down the entire Medieval Engineers instances for now. Like that's what Ian was saying. Because I was trying to get it up, and you told him that it was coming down. So when can we see that back? I know you
So
can't
what
give us an
I'm
exact
gonna
date,
do
but
is I have to consolidate my servers because I have a bunch of host servers now, and I have obviously a bunch of instances I have to delete from all those freeloaders. Then that'll allow me to cut my number of host servers down. I can consolidate everyone down to just a few boxes, and
Okay.
then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the Medieval Engineers done and tested. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace my current system that I have in production with the open source control panel. So then everyone that has an account or an active subscription for Space Engineers will also have Medieval Engineers, but they'll only be able to have one or the other running at a time. So you'll be able to switch back and forth between Space Engineers and Medieval Engineers. Obviously for you, I'll comp you on both Medieval Engineers and Space Engineers, so you can have both running at the same time. But
cool. Well, I
for other
appreciate that.
people, if they want to have both, then they'll have to pay for both.
Okay.
So that's the plan, because I want to have one system that I'm working on, not two.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But yes, like I said, I plan on having a lot more done, but life
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, man. Just so people know, I mean, is it alright if we say a little bit about what happened to your wife and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously public knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. So he, like he said, he was working on all this, trying to get Medieval Engineers up. And one morning, was it well, I guess it's been a month now, hasn't it?
The 9th.
Okay, so about 3 weeks ago, my first thing was about right. His wife woke up and got out of bed and immediately collapsed. And turned out she had a ruptured disc, and she went to the hospital. First, I mean, obviously they didn't know it was a ruptured disc until they went to the hospital and spent some time testing. But it's been a big struggle for him. He's got another job. He does this basically as a side gig. The hosting engineers. That's, you would almost say it's your free time. It's your fun time almost. You're like me. You code on the side. But I mean, obviously your main job is also coding, so they're both different things. But it's side work for him. It's a different thing. So all of a sudden he's got to take care of his wife at the hospital, take care of all his 3 kids, and can't really deal with all this stuff all at once.
Something had to give, and it couldn't be my sanity, my day job, or my family.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't leave room for much else then. But no, I'm glad you found a way to make this work, and hopefully this new model works out well for you.
I retained 52 paying customers.
Cool. Yeah.
I mean,
I gotta say, when I saw you give away the 6 months free, I thought that's extremely generous, but also a bit insane. I'll be honest. That was my initial thought. It's like, yeah, that's just. I knew you were gonna get burned by that immediately,
I was naive.
Yeah.
And I will always be that way because I'm a generous, kind person, and I make the mistake of thinking that other people are the same as me.
Yeah, I've gotten better about it, but it's still, people take advantage of me from time to time.
But that's on them, so fuck them.
Yeah. Luigi, I've got a lot of other games I want him to get into hosting if he ever hosts anything else. But maybe, one day if he branches out to hosting a lot of stuff, sure. But there's a number of things that we've discussed getting him to host. But he's focusing on Keen games right now.
The control panel is open source.
Yeah, we'll be able to use it on other stuff.
HTCpanel.com. So, if you want to make it support another game, have at it. Alright, here's the challenge I put out there. If someone can make it support another game without breaking its support of Keen games, I will host those games.
Well, there you go. Challenge issued.
Luigi, the problem isn't just the basic hosting of it. The problem is making it easy to control remotely.
Is that right? HECpanel.com.
Because
what? HECpanel.com.
Okay.
Hosted Engineers Control Panel.
Okay.
But it's not that hard for him to throw up the server, but he doesn't want to have to be doing that for everybody, and then
management and configuration, and knowing the ins and outs of that game's configuration is actually a challenge. Especially when you're looking at it on large scale, and then you've got resource management. You're trying to fit a number of users on the same box, and then you got to handle all of these things, and so. Yeah, it's not just as simple as, well, let me just throw up this. It's fine if you're doing one instance. You could probably throw a lot of different games on there, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But when you're talking about, doing it for a business, yes.
FTP access, it's automatically maintained. Like when a user updates their password, the control panel update their FTP password.
I've got TS at max, Luigi. I don't know what's going on there. Well, let's see.
Right click on Travis's name.
I already have. I've done that. But okay. Actually, overall is, I mean, if I bring that up, that's just gonna, the music on Kerbal is that what's overpowering here?
The other thing you do is you could increase the overall mixer volume and then lower the other stuff in the mixer.
Everything is maxed.
Everything is maxed? Okay.
My overall mixer is maxed. Now the Kerbal can't really go any lower in the mixer. TeamSpeak is maxed. OBS is maxed.
I have Skype open.
That's
that's
maybe,
not a
but
problem because I can hear you fine. The problem is he's having.
Skype automatically adjusts.
Is it my voice? Well, my voice is supposed to be overpowering on it, and it's also Now, my voice in OBS, the mixer is not entirely maxed. But the thing is, if you're having trouble hearing him, is it over everything else or is it over me? Because when he's talking, I'm quiet. But if I end up talking over somebody talking at the same time, it's for a reason, so that I can overpower. And my mic is set higher for that reason.
Because he's God.
Yes. But let's just shut the music off.
Travis,
KSP is quiet now.
Travis, I was saying that it's not on your end because you're, if anything, a little bit loud on my end.
Now, is it
So,
only Travis that's soft though? Can you hear Mage just fine, but Travis not so much?
apparently,
Everything he said. Now, DeHatchet says everything sounds pretty all right except the second guy, not the hosting guy. He is very quiet from his end, which is weird.
I guess
Because I hear you fine in my ear, which should be close to equivalent to what they're hearing.
So, just real quick
Anyways.
to wrap up that discussion we were having. Yeah, so just keeping up with medieval engineers and space engineers is like running a marathon. Not to mention like adding other games into the mix.
Well,
It'll
they're
be a
constantly
lot
changing too. If you did a game that's full release, it'd probably be easier.
Exactly. So my point is like once development on medieval engineers, space engineers stabilizes, like they get into beta or something, then I will definitely start focusing on other games.
Yeah, it's like running a marathon, but the finish line is moving as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't even exactly just like jog. You actually have to continue running, otherwise you're falling behind.
Yep.
And as far as I know, there's only 2 control panels for space engineers, and I don't think there's one for medieval engineers yet.
I believe that you're probably right, Luigi. It was that the music. I didn't realize that my music was actually that loud, but I shut off the music and also got KSP quiet. So between those two things, there's not 2 opposing soundtracks mixing at the same time as his. But yeah, I'm glad you're finding some
What I find
solutions
weird
here.
is everybody is giving a different story. Some people,
I know.
everybody's okay. Some people, one person is bad. So
Hey.
it's me and Travis.
That's kind of like the nightmare I dealt with doing customer support all the time.
Yep, everybody has a different side of things, and you can't please everybody. You can't please 100% of the people 100% of the time.
Yeah, that's what I got
At
too
least-
busy.
At least
I
now
got
that
too
the-
consumed with trying to do that.
Yeah, you can't do that without turning yourself insane.
10 years as being the chief technician at my company, dealing with all the support tickets. I finally go, all right, I'll get as many people happy as possible. If you're reasonable, I'll be reasonable with you. You make unreasonable requests, I don't do anything for you at all. Just get the fuck out. Our policy is very clear, so that we're totally in the clear to be total dicks if we want to. We usually don't follow it that way, but we can absolutely, with my policy, if I want to, I can just be like, it clearly states all sales are final, no refunds whatsoever, regardless of what problems you have. So, I mean, if the service fails entirely and you're a jerk, I could go and say no refunds. It's very rare that we ever actually do that. Most of the time, if somebody has a problem and it's actually, there's any real service issues, of course we're going to give them a refund, because if we're not providing the service, we're not going to charge them for a service that they're not getting. Duh. But legally, our butts are covered so that we can accommodate for those jerks.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
And there's more jerks than nice people. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Well, actually, those are the only ones you deal with, because the nice people
Yeah.
don't say anything.
Exactly. Typically, when you're in the customer service, you start to feel like the world is just full of crap faces. But it's
Yeah.
really not that bad. It's not that bad. It's bad, but it's not.
Doesn't care enough to call.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've put this on hold. I'm glad we got to hear what's going on here, but we have put this on hold for a while. We need to find a new mission. We need to grab these missions here